everyone. Welcome back to the InNOLEvation Mindset Podcast, powered by the Moran College of Entrepreneurship. I'm Isabella Neustein. I'm your host. And today with me we have Audra Fournier, who is the founder and owner of Partners for a Solution. Welcome. I'm so excited to have you here with us.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
So, how are you feeling today?
Great.
Great. So, how would you describe what you do to someone that you've never met before?
Such a great question, and I was actually talking about elevator pitches in my class just a moment ago. So I started out, my first kind of tagline was, I help business owners build better, more successful businesses. And a lot of that really hasn't changed. So we talk a lot about in my coaching sessions and in my company, we talk a lot about mindset, leadership, systems, strategies, processes, accountability, and really where our headspace is as business owners and business leaders. And I continue to do that in my business today.
I love that. That's so inspiring. I forgot to mention Professor Fournier is my professor, which is amazing. So let's go back to the beginning. What kind of environment did you grow up in? And were you surrounded by any entrepreneurials, like leaders yourself, that inspired you to become an entrepreneur today?
Yes, my grandfather started a plumbing supply business back in 1945 that's still in existence. It's in its third generation now. He started that with an 8th grade education. Wow. And my mom was a lawyer, and so she had a firm. And I have 2 sisters, and we each have our own businesses, and we're in business together.
Wow.
So business was something growing up that was talked about at the dinner table, which I'm very fortunate to have had that. And being the idea of wanting to own a business has always been really part of who I am.
Mm-hmm. And a little bit more about your background. Where did you grow up and where are you from?
So my parents are from Miami. My grandfather
nice.
started that company down in Miami. And out of the 3 of siblings, the first 2 were born in Miami, but then my parents decided to move to South Georgia, and I was actually born in Thomasville.
Okay.
So we're kind of a mixed bag of Miami and South Georgia, landing in Tallahassee.
I'm actually from Miami myself too. But back to you, was there a particular moment or person who made you first think that I could build something of my own?
Yeah, well, it was definitely my grandfather. We always had the plan. My mom's a funny, wonderful woman. Mm-hmm. And she said, I don't care if you want to be an Indian chief, you're going to do it with a bachelor's degree or a master's degree. So first and foremost was always a college education. And so we were really free to imagine after we got a college degree. So we did do that. All of us got college degrees. Was there a single person? I think it was just the general family dynamic of, it's a mindset, right? To think that you can forge something new, that you can be creative and take that idea to market. And my sisters and I really thrive on each other with that too. So I don't know if there was any other particular person other than my grandfather that kind of really spurred that.
So you have 2 sisters?
I do.
Okay. I have 2 brothers myself. So I'm the only girl. Mm-hmm. That's kind of also why I joined a sorority coming to FSU. I wanted to have more girls like me, like-minded individuals, where we could also bounce ideas back off one another. So I met some really great girls in the sorority. So it reminds me of you a little bit, to have sisters that we could bounce ideas off of one another. So going back to Partners for a Solution, how did that exactly come to life, and what inspired that idea?
I met my first coach. So I knew I always wanted to open a business, but I didn't really know what I wanted it to be yet.
Yeah.
So I spent quite a lot of time working for other people. Mm-hmm. My undergraduate degree is actually in hospitality because I love the customer experience. I have recognized that I love this place where leadership meets reality and psychology, and all of those things come together in the customer experience itself. And so hospitality taught me how to create customer-enriched environments. There was a time in my career where I wasn't happy where I was, and so I met my first coach.
Yeah.
And I was blown away. I was like, this actually exists as an industry? Wait, what? I can just help people run businesses?
Yeah.
And so she helped me turn my life around, and I point blank asked her, I was like, I really want to do this for business owners. And I was like, is there even an industry for that? And she was like, well, there can be. All you have to do is create it, right? So that started Partners for a Solution. I became a certified master business coach and professional life coach, and I have continued my education and certifications in that realm. And I started Partners for a Solution because I really wanted to be partners with my clients in creating solutions for the problems in their businesses.
That's so inspiring. And I love that you realized that there was a need for this and it wasn't even a possibility yet, and you decided I could just create it, because that sometimes is like the roadblock, because it doesn't exist yet, so we don't really think about it, but in reality you could just create that. So that's really amazing. And what were some of like the risks that you faced or like the challenges in the beginning process of it, because of being a business that wasn't really created just yet?
There's always a lot, which is why I love teaching entrepreneurship students. So first and foremost, the first risk is that you have to believe in yourself, right? You have to believe that you have something that's marketable, that a client will actually want. Yeah. You have to step out of the realm of what is tradition, and oftentimes that means stepping away from a career path that has a guaranteed income stream into something that doesn't. And you have to tread the waters of the unknown. Even when you're doing businesses that do exist, you still have to kind of go through these spaces. But the biggest risk is taking the chance on yourself that you can actually make something out of nothing.
Yeah.
And that's the scariest part, because our limiting beliefs tell us, you're not good enough to do this. You have no experience here. You don't have 35 years doing this. You haven't, worked for a Fortune 500 company. Who's to say that you can actually help these people? Like all of these things running through your mind, and you have to just keep taking one step forward.
Yeah, just take that leap of faith and believe in yourself, because we're definitely our own worst critic. And we have imposter syndrome sometimes when put in an environment where it's new for us, but really experience is just the way to keep going and keep learning and become who you are today. Leading to my next question, is there a success story in particular or a client experience that really like reinforced what you do today and why you continue to do what you do today with Partners for a Solution?
There are so many. So one that always comes to mind is that I had a client that really great at what he did. He still does it. Started out as it was just him, and he was burning candles at both ends. And we talked a lot about building a team around him, right? And so in the time that we worked together, he went from a single individual that was making tens of thousands of dollars to a team of 6 making hundreds of thousands of dollars, because he learned how to, one, delegate, identify what his most valuable offering to the company is, and then learn how to replicate and teach others so that he could reach more and solve more problems.
Yeah.
Oftentimes the wins don't always come as a dollar amount. They come as better leadership, greater efficiency, better systems and processing, the ability to help more customers because they've learned to replicate themselves as opposed to being the bottleneck. And some of that's not measured by dollars. So that one happens to be measured by both.
That's amazing and so inspiring too. Personally, in leadership, coming to FSU, I wanted to get involved. So when I came here, I just went full throttle and went to the career fair and the business expo. And I didn't really know what I was doing, but I just know I wanted to start somewhere. And that really got me involved with clubs as well. Being a part of those clubs has allowed me to become a better leader myself. So I'm not exactly making money either, but I really see the wins coming throughout my leadership skills and how I talk with people and how I present myself. So what brought you to Florida State to teach here at the Moran College of Entrepreneurship?
I'm a huge networker. I'm very involved in the community. I love groups that give and support and provide resource to entrepreneurs and small business owners, because I really believe that they are the backbone of our economy, both locally and nationally. And they're also part of my client space. In my conversations with the Jim Moran Institute, where I signed up as a mentor, I was trying to figure out, how do I do more? So I asked and I said, how do I do more? And they're like, well, you can sign up as a mentor / teaching assistant for an entrepreneurship class, which I did last fall. And I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
I went to the dean or the assistant dean and I was like, is there the possibility for adjunct professorship? I would love to teach a class. This is a lot of fun, and I love giving back to the students because they're like pre-clients. They're fantastic. They're in the budding stages of this whole thing.
That's a good way to put it.
And they were like, here's a link. You can sign up. We have some spaces available in the teaching space. So I was hired on December 20th of last year.
Okay.
Classes started on June 6th, and they gave me 2 classes. And I was like, who put me in charge of students? This is wonderful, but I have no idea what I'm doing. And so here I am now teaching faculty at the Moran College of Entrepreneurship, and I love it. And just the way it happened just worked out beautifully.
And you're doing an amazing job.
Oh, thank you.
Of course. Another question I have is, what do you hope that your students take away from your classes beyond just business knowledge?
First is that entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart, which I know that probably every professor teaches that. But it's also incredibly exciting, and it's trial and error for everyone. Mm-hmm. It's trial and error whether you're brand new to entrepreneurship or whether you are seasoned, because entrepreneurs constantly push the envelope. That's what we do. So all the spaces that we often go into, there's an element that we've never been there before.
Yeah.
So it's okay to mess up.
Yeah.
It's okay to fail. It's okay to try something new. It's okay to not know what the heck you're doing and that you're just feel like you're wandering blindly through the woods.
Yeah.
Because that's what entrepreneurship is about, and that's to be expected. And so if you go in knowing that this is going to challenge probably every single part of your being, that when it does challenge every single part of your being, you're not surprised.
Yeah.
It just is. I've been an entrepreneur for decades, and there are still places that I put myself that I'm like, how did I get here?
Yeah.
It's fun. Make it fun.
Exactly. It's all a learning experience. Mm-hmm. A really powerful quote that I learned just a few weeks ago is, if you don't win, then you learn. Because it doesn't always have to be a losing situation. You're not losing. You're learning. It's more experiences, and that's what life is all about. So has there been a failure or learning moment that actually ended up being blessings in disguise for you?
Sure. I do a lot of things. And I push myself to the max a lot. So teaching, Partners for a Solution. I'm also in a real estate investment partnership with my siblings, which is family business, which is always complicated. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there are spaces or times in each of those elements that I felt like I failed. Mm-hmm. In particular, real estate challenges me because sometimes I really don't know whether we're making a good decision or not. And so we have to just wing it. You have a methodology, right? You have numbers and you want to meet metrics and all of these things, but sometimes it doesn't work out the way that you think it's going to.
Yeah.
So for instance, we have a piece of property currently that's up in North Georgia, and it's not producing what it should be producing. So I automatically think that's a failure, right? And so I'm like, oh my God, we need to put this on the market. It's costing too much money. But then I sit down and I have a conversation with my sibling, and they actually personally really like the space. Mm-hmm. And they're like, maybe we should hang on to it for a little bit because it's a great place for us as a family to get together. So while I categorized that in my mind as a failure, it doesn't end up necessarily being one. Sometimes I feel like that I haven't prepared properly for classes, so then that day I'm scrambling, or at least I feel like I am. Yeah. But then something really beautiful comes out of it.
Yeah.
And I'm constantly having to fight the internal demons, the mental mindset of where I think I should be versus where I am. And I would have thought that after all of these years that would have resolved itself, but it doesn't always, because you're constantly pushing yourself into new spaces. So I think that your quote is perfect, that, you know, if it's a failure, then it's a lesson. And I still have to remind myself of that today.
100%. I could be hard on myself because I am the oldest of my 2 siblings. So I like to be a good role model for them. I want to be a good leader. I feel like because I am the oldest girl, there's just a certain expectation that I carry, and I just like to uphold that. My parents were never over the top looking at my grades or what I do. Everything was from myself, so I do definitely carry that with everything I do, but it's really important to just take a step back and realize that you don't have to be so hard on yourself. I really believe everything happens for a reason. So many times this year, even going to FSU, it wasn't in the cards for me. But now looking back, I wouldn't have wanted to do anything differently. This is exactly what I wanted out of college. It really just goes to show everything does happen for a reason. I also like to listen to a lot of podcasts myself, Mel Robbins in particular. There's one podcast that I listened to by her where she was just saying every day could be a good day if you just program your mind to think like that. And there's a couple sayings that she likes to say, like today's going to be a good day or something good is going to happen today. Mm-hmm. So you're constantly looking for the good things to happen in the day, where maybe the morning was a little weird, but then someone gave you like a free coffee at Starbucks. That's awesome. So
yes, I love this space of where our brain functions because it guides everything. Mm-hmm. It guides how we are as leaders, what we think about ourselves versus how impactful we can be with others. It is the basis of the culture that is created in companies. Mm-hmm. It can shade or highlight whatever is happening in your world at any given time.
100%.
And I love that it's not a bad day more often than not. It's a bad moment. Yeah. And yet you carry that like a backpack through the rest of your day.
Oh, yeah.
When it grays everything that could be beautiful. Stopping and smelling the roses and trying to bring yourself back to whatever this moment is so important, which is why I try to take out the earbuds and wander around and look at people's faces and flowers and birds and skies, and because I can't replace this moment.
Yeah, 100%.
I had a realization the other day that in this exact moment, we are everything that has been decided from yesterday, and we are all the decisions that we will make for tomorrow. Mm-hmm. So in this exact moment, we are all three, the past, present, and the future. And that is so incredibly powerful because every decision that you have made to this point has gotten you at this table, and every decision that I have made up until this point has gotten me at this table as well. Yeah. And the conversation that we are having in this moment can lead to future decisions. I think that we forget how crazily powerful that is, that we have the impact of all of those things and the people that we're going to interact with the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
That's so cool.
I know.
It blows my mind.
I know. It's crazy to think about. I love to hear what everyone has to say. And it's because I just put myself in the moment. I feel like I'm learning a lot just from being on the other side and being able to help my friends in the ways that they need to be helped. Mm-hmm. But I also know that you had a podcast previously, and I'd love to hear a little bit more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So my fellow coach friend, her name is Margaret Rose Cox. Mm-hmm. We met at a local networking event and we became fast friends. And so during COVID, we decided to start a podcast, and it was called The Goldfish Effect. And it was lovely titled Coaching Conversations Over Cocktails, because we would sit around and have a glass of wine and we would have these amazing in-depth conversations. And we're like, people need to hear this.
Yes.
And so we did maybe 65 or 70 episodes, all just about different types of coaching philosophies and mindset topics. And we would sometimes be on the same page and sometimes be vastly different in our opinions.
And it's cool to hear like how your brains work differently and how you're seeing how your brains work differently. And how did you come up with the name The Goldfish Podcast?
The Goldfish Effect is because the average attention span of a human now is about 9 seconds, which is roughly the attention span of goldfish.
Oh, yeah.
And it's actually down 25%. It used to be 12 seconds. And over the last few years, the average attention span has gone from 12 seconds to 9 seconds.
Yeah. Also, with all the things that you do, how do you manage your time most efficiently? That's something I'm personally trying to work on as a student in clubs and my sorority, still wanting to have fun and call my mom and eat, like work out. It gets difficult. So is there any advice you have for time management, balancing all the things that you do?
Sure. I've learned how to manage a lot of it through awareness. So I color code my calendar. I try to make sure I have a to-do list like that.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that I get all these things done in the week. And so at the beginning of the week or once a week, I go through my calendar and make sure that I've prioritized all the things that are really important and set those things on my calendar. So my phone bings to tell me where I'm supposed to be and when I'm supposed to be there, including all of the classes that I teach on a regular basis. Like they don't move, but there's still entries on my calendar and they're color-coded
100%
with Garnet, because Garnet is FSU time. So I color-code my calendar. I have a to-do list, and I try to make sure that I get the time in for all the different things that I want to accomplish in a week, which is quite a lot of networking. My coaching clients, because I still run my coaching business, my teaching time, my office work time, my grading papers time, my self-meditation and all of the morning things. I have structured, quiet mornings.
Yes.
Because I like my coffee and journaling and all the little bits and bobs that I like to do in the morning. So, but it takes an extraordinary amount of awareness. And it took me time of journaling and writing all of these things down to determine what was going to be the right structure for me, because it's different for everybody, right? So this is also a conversation that I have with my clients, because if they're not working at their highest and best capacity, then they're never going to be able to get their head in the right place.
Yeah.
So it's taken a lot of trial and error. So keep trying. You'll come around to it.
Something I wanted to implement more in my day-to-day is waking up earlier and being able to work out and have that time in the morning. Then the rest of the day is just automatically a good day, because the day just started off in such high spirits and energy. Another question I have, what does success mean to you today, and how does that deviate from the beginning of your career?
Oh man, I don't know if you've heard I've seen it a lot on Instagram here lately, which is maybe the reason that you feel like that you're not successful is because you keep raising the bar. And I feel like sometimes that's my world. Yeah. Because I expect a lot out of myself, and I implement these expectations. Like you were talking about how you create these expectations that as the oldest sister that you need to, right? Yeah. So we create these expectations of ourselves, and then when we get close to meeting them, we move the expectation to higher. And so what does success look like for me today is a lot different than probably success looked like for me 5 years ago. Yeah. But I did have to sit down the other day, because every year on my birthday, I haven't done as much as I think that I should have done. And I go through all of this headspace stuff, but I had to list out like all of the things that I have done in the last year, and they're incredible. I never thought that I would be teaching at FSU or get back into academics in any way. My network is phenomenal. My family is amazing, and my relationships with all of my siblings and both of my parents are fantastic. These are things that I've been working towards for a long time, and they're little successes like family relationship, but also big successes like we just moved homes, and that is so cool. Yeah. But we have a tendency, we being me, I don't know if everybody does this, but we have a tendency to forget to celebrate these things, these milestones in our life, because we're so engaged in moving towards the next direction or the next milestone that we forget to stop and allow our brains to celebrate. Yeah. So what does success look like for me? I love to travel. I love to help people. I love to teach and help students like fall in love with the concepts of constant risk. I love the relationships that I have in my life, the people that contribute to my life. So continuing to do that. I mean, my grand goals they scare me, but that's okay. One step at a time.
One step at a time. For students that want to start a business one day, what are some advice that you have for them? And maybe is there a place that they should begin? Maybe with you?
So I really want to emphasize when you have a good idea or you think you have a good idea, make sure that you can anchor passion to it, because it gets scary, y'all. It's going to ask everything from you. And if you are in it for just the money, it's never going to work out. I mean, it could, but not as well as if you had a passion behind it. Yeah. And you're willing to fight for it, and you have to be willing to fight for it. Where should they start? Shop their competition. What is the alternative? Why would somebody choose your thing over whatever is currently out there? Get yourself together a solid idea. Weigh the pros and cons. Make sure that there's not already a very viable alternative to what you're doing. There's two schools of thought. Do you share this idea with somebody to get, feedback, or do you keep it to yourself and move forward? And that's a very personal decision. But play it out. Play it out in your mind. There's lots and lots of resources. And there's so many resources for small businesses and out there in the environment and in the facilities of FSU.
Yeah, the College of Entrepreneurship has so many verticals and outlooks you can go into if you want to start a business and you want to get involved. There's advisors that want to help you and curated specifically to that, and mentors like you, which is amazing. So a little bit of a reflection question as we wrap it up a little bit, but if you can go back in time and tell yourself one thing before starting Partners for Solutions, what would you tell yourself?
You are far more capable than you believe that you are. There is a turn of phrase that I have learned from mentors which is a great piece of advice for anybody that wants to start a business. Once the idea comes into your head, oftentimes you are already fully resourced for it. And when we think about fully resourced, it's not always about money. Mm-hmm. So if you're an entrepreneur, so let's say for me, I already knew all of the connections, but I didn't know that I knew them to get started and be successful. I already had a plethora of support and backing. I had grown up in business because our limiting beliefs are first going to tell us, no, this isn't going to work. Mm-hmm. You're not going to be successful at this. And if we truly believe divine timing and that the universe delivers, and if you are faith-based, whatever that means for you, then you are already fully resourced to bring anything to fruition. You just don't realize that you have those resources at your fingertips. And so I would have told myself when I was like, this is never going to work, nobody's going to trust in you, what do you think you are being a coach, is that I've already been coaching and listening my whole life.
Yeah.
My whole life. I'm the youngest of three. You're the oldest of three.
Look at that.
But I've always been the go-to. I've always been the listener.
Uh-huh.
And I've always tried to give really good feedback and suggestions and provide a safe space for people to express themselves, right? And so I do that same thing now. I just happen to do it for business owners. So I was already fully resourced, and I'm worthy, and I'm good enough, and it's possible, and the idea is great, or it would have never come to me. All of those things, giving myself the confidence and the permission.
We have to keep reminding ourselves, like, positive affirmations throughout the day, reminding ourselves that we are enough and we are capable and we can do this. And because we're a very strong, powerful woman, and that's a very important message that we need to keep implementing the rest of our lives, no matter what we do. Well, it was so great having you today. I think we're going to wrap it up a little bit, but thank you guys so much for tuning into the InNOLEvation Mindset Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to like, comment, and share with your friends. And if you want to hear more about Partners for Solutions, I will leave everything in the comments, and make sure to look at the notes. Well, thank you guys so much. Bye. It was so great having you.
Thank you so much. It was such a blast.
Yay. Okay.
Cool.